Are we good?
We are. Yes. Hello.
All right. Hey, Nick. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Obviously, we've known each other for a while. I think we've become friends over the years. So I will introduce you as Nick Lawyer, the president of Plains Youth Soccer. But how about you give yourself a little introduction so people know
Sure.
who you are, what you do, those kinds of things.
Rick, my name is Nick Lawyer, and I live in Plains, Montana. I'm a local guy. I was born here. I work at the hospital as a medical provider here. I have three kids, now 21, 19 as of today, and 11. I've been involved in soccer here since my 21-year-old was 9, so 12 years ago. I've been a coach. I have been the club registrar. I've been the club vice president, and most recently the club president. Our club recently merged with neighboring clubs. So while we were called Wild Horse Youth Soccer, now we call ourselves the Clark Fork Soccer Alliance, which is Plains, Thompson, St. Regis, and Hot Springs, all under one umbrella. When I'm not in the hospital working in primary care, and when I'm not thinking about soccer, which is most of the time, I think the remainder of my time is spent working in my yard. I very much enjoy gardening and pruning my fruit trees. That's the other big thing.
Yeah, well, Plains, you're in one of the banana belts of Montana. Me here in Bozeman, not so lucky.
Not so much.
So I assume you got involved in soccer like a lot of people do. You sign your child up, and the club says we need a coach.
Right.
Is that how you got involved with local soccer?
It was. My oldest, his team needed a coach, and to be honest, I knew the game, but I did not know a thing about coaching, and I got thrown into the deep end. U10 soccer, we run a fall soccer league, so it was an 8-week season, and just year after year, I kind of found I enjoyed it, and then through education programs, I found I was not bad at it, and there was an effort. I think the real inflection point for me was there was an effort maybe 6 years ago to add competitive spring soccer to our soccer programming. And that was something that I helped start here. And that really led to my involvement on club management. So although I've been coaching for 12 years, it's been 6 years on the board.
Yeah. Well, I know you've taken a number of coaching courses from me to improve your coaching. So I know you are in the game hook, line, and sinker, so to speak. So as president of a small club, I know, talking to other presidents around the state, that you have to wear many hats. Yeah. So I don't want to say what are your day-to-day duties, but what are your duties as president that you have to do for a small club?
I think the most important thing for me is to create the club culture, and that I define as shared roles, goals, and beliefs. Having a group of people who know what their individual job is, who all share the same end of year goals, and who all believe in the way that we are trying to achieve those goals. So I think the biggest part of my job is to help find people to help us achieve that mission or that goal. So recruiting board members, recruiting coaches, referees, players, all of those things are a very big part of what I spend most of my time doing. I certainly during our soccer programming seasons, you have to fill in when gaps occur. So sometimes I'm out on the mower, cutting the grass and painting the lines, because if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. Previously, sometimes I might have to help coach a team here or there, but we're getting to the point where now I can just focus on one team, or even sometimes I don't have to coach at all, and I can instead help our coaches be more successful. There's a social media component. We try and be pretty aggressive in helping our kids get recognition for their success and their achievements through social media. And of course, fundraising and thanking our sponsors is another big part of that. So while it's many different hats, I think the biggest hat that the club president has to wear is defining the club culture and helping to make it happen.
Yeah. Now I know about creating a culture. When I was coaching at Belgrade,
Mm-hmm.
I went in. I was the first year coach on the boys' side, so they hadn't had soccer before that, and that was one of my main jobs. Was I wanted to create a culture of soccer at Belgrade High School. So I know it takes 3, 4, 5 years to develop that culture and to surround your people that buy into the same idea that you've had. Do you think you've created that culture that you want right now, or is there still some ways to go?
It kind of cycles. Maybe 5 years ago, there was a collective that did not share the opinion that we should even play competitive soccer, that our fall soccer program was enough. And we went through growing pains to help kind of really clear the air and define that we are not just playing to have fun, but we also want to give our kids the chance to play to win. Probably that pendulum swung so far that recently we've had some culture issues or some philosophy issues around playing to win at the expense of player development. And that has really been the big cultural change for us recently, is we are hardwiring our commitment to player development. We want to be able to offer 3 different trajectories for players. And that culture, I think we finally now have clarity in those 3 paths. If I might, I would offer path 1 would be for the fall rec player who wants to have fun and isn't really interested in developing as a soccer player, but is interested in being social. And that's a player we are glad to have. We next identify players who want to develop as athletes, but that soccer is not their passion. So they may play both recreational and they may play competitive soccer, but both sports, both seasons rather, are first and foremost for them secondary to their preferred sport, which might be basketball or it might be football, but they will still play and participate with us. And then the last group is that small subset who state with intention they want to play soccer beyond our program, and we want to help find a trajectory for them. And by defining those 3 paths, parents and coaches and board members have all felt like we can clearly say, this is what we're trying to do. It's not just about having a successful season, but we're trying to help develop kids and develop student athletes. So developing that culture and setting the clear vision for what we're trying to do has really helped, I think, both drive participation, drive volunteer involvement, and then it feels like we can generate some good success when you have a kid who plays soccer beyond our program.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to define success, and wins and losses is probably down on the list of ways. I think as a coach, I like to think that as a coach, I was always developing more than a soccer player. It sounds like you as a club have kind of taken that same idea on that we're more than just teaching soccer. Hopefully, you mentioned earlier that you've grown the game to Hot Springs and to Thompson Falls, St. Regis. How have you been able to do that? Because I know your county is if it's not the poorest, it's one of the poorest counties in our state. How have you been able to grow the game so much?
There are always barriers, and there are always people who will say you can't, or you need this, or you got to do that to make it happen. But I think the reality is you just got to dive in. You got to find a parent, and you got to put 3 kids on the field and start from there. When I came to our program, when I started getting involved, we did have soccer in Thompson Falls and in St. Regis. Hot Springs had previously kind of withered and perished. And so, there's always the angst of, well, we have to have everything ready for them. And instead, it's just, we found a parent who wanted to have soccer for her kid, and simply said, okay, we'll get you a team and we'll take care of the rest. And that's part of the goal of having the alliance, so to speak, an administrative part of our club that just takes care of the dealing with Montana youth, scheduling referees, that sort of thing. I was really impressed, actually. Hot Springs raised almost $2,000 this last year, but we provided some suggestions on how to go about doing that. Again, it really, to me, it just comes back to finding people who share in the culture that you want to create. And so, for example, Natasha in Hot Springs wants her daughter very much to be that, I think, that middle athlete who does very well with athletics in school. And at 6 years old, this child needs something for her to do in the fall. And so they came, we reached out to them and they came forward, and it's just been that networking component, I guess. I don't know if that answers your question, Rick.
Yeah, I think so, because I know when I ran the clinic there in Hot Springs, and Natasha told me that it was free this year for all those kids. They didn't have to pay anything. And I think that's brilliant. I mean, talk about a way to get them hooked.
Right.
And then the little kids go back to mom and dad and go, yeah, I want to play. And now all of a sudden, I don't know what you guys charge, in your area, but all of a sudden mom and dad go, okay, we'll pay the $50, $100, whatever it is, because our kid loves it. So I think that was a great hook for those kids for that first year. How hard is it?
Oh, sorry. Our goal is to be able to offer fall recreational soccer at $30 a player and competitive soccer at $80 a player. And we meet that goal most years.
Yeah, that is dirt cheap, as you know.
It's still too much. I would love to offer it for $5 a kid, but we can't do that yet. Yeah.
Well, I know. I think when I ran a training session in Plains once, I think either a parent or a player told me that if they have to go see you at the hospital for whatever reason, that you were handing out soccer balls to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every kid gets a soccer ball at a wellness visit with me. Excuse me.
Yeah. So as the program is growing, that means you need more coaches, you need more referees, you need more volunteers. How are you going about finding these coaches, these referees, these volunteers?
Well, development isn't just a player expectation. We expect every person involved in our club to develop to the best of their ability through soccer. So you might be a parent who puts your 4-year-old in the program, and the next year we will ask you, hey, your kid is 5, will you be an assistant coach? And then the next year, can we get you to coach? Our goal is a whole pathway for all players, fans, parents, coaches, for us always to be asking, how can we help you develop more skills? Referees is a big challenge for all of us, and I know it's an issue across the state. We are constantly asking our older players, as well as our players who return, to come and be involved. And, one of the things we've had to do is we have to pay above the MYSA rate. So we actually pay more for our referees than what MYSA pays, just to help get them involved and get them hooked.
Wow, that's that is pretty impressive, because based on the fees that you're charging, and then to pay these referees more, that's no easy task. How about, I know you have a lot of volunteers. Do you have to deal with volunteer burnout? Because we all know that 10% of the people are doing 90% of the work, right? So I'm sure you've had volunteers that come in, and by the end of the year, it's like, Nick, I mean, I'm done.
Yeah. We view it as every year has 2 seasons, and we encourage our volunteers to take 1 out of 4 seasons off. We want them to disconnect from the game. We want them to just enjoy their kid playing and then come back refreshed and rejuvenated. So that process really helps to keep our volunteers engaged. But you're right, there still is volunteer turnover, and losing volunteers is always hard. But we understand if people decide to leave the game, but we do encourage them to take a break from the volunteer burden. We ask them to take on. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, Rick. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. You work in a hospital. I hope you're physically okay.
I am okay. Thank you. I had some nuts for lunch, and there's just
They're not agreeing.
nope.
So I was up there last spring or fall, probably both, and
Yeah.
you showed me you got some new soccer fields. So
Mhm.
here you are in Plains, which has a population of what?
1,200 people.
1,200 people, and you got, I think, 5 acres for soccer fields. Is that what you got?
Right. We have it's actually 20 acres, and we have 6. We have room for 2, 3, 7, 8 different soccer fields of different sizes. This is not our club's doing. We've contributed to help fund the construction of these fields, but a separate organization has raised the money and has constructed the fields. And we're very lucky that that organization exists because it takes a lot of burden off of us. There was a time, maybe 4 years ago, where the growth of our program was offensive to some people, some organizations in town, and there was pressure put on us not to run our program and not to be able to use public spaces. And if it weren't for this other group stepping forward to help build us fields, we might have been in serious trouble. But we represent, Wild Horse Sports Association is the group that builds and maintains those fields. And like I said, I think it's 7 fields that we could play on, and we represent about half of their player use fee budget. So about half of the facility is used for soccer players at any given year, in any given year.
Yeah. Well, you're in a town of 1,200 and you have dedicated soccer fields.
It's pretty
There
sweet.
are a lot bigger cities all over the state that would love to have dedicated fields and don't. So well done there in Plains to get that.
Mm-hmm.
Your fees are so low. Do you have any paid staff? Like, I know there's being a registrar is a lot of work. Assigning referees. I don't know if you have your own assigner, or if Flathead does that for you, but these jobs are a lot of work. Do you have any paid people in your organization?
We have one contracted worker. So she is not an employee. She is a contractor. She has her own business, and her job is to be the club registrar and assigner. And we pay her on a per player basis. And her role, of course, is to stay up to date on Got Soccer and to be able to be our, she builds our registration programs, registers players, creates player ID cards, rosters, referee assigning is all done through her. And she is certainly not getting paid what she is worth, but we pay, I think it's $4 per kid in order for her to do those things, and then it's the assigner fee from the state.
Right.
Raising money is I know it's a challenge for all of us. We found great success. I thought I had an example here, but I'm afraid it's not handy. We've had great success in doing a couple of different things. We do individual team sponsors on the jerseys for $500 per team, and that generates 60% of our revenue. We started a season ticket holders club, which is really just a booster club, and $100 membership gets the booster club member a scarf or some other piece of clothing, an entry to an end of season drawing, and we recognize them on Facebook. And then, we're doing a couple of fundraisers a year, bake sales, not currently, but bake sales during normal times to try and help raise more revenue. In the worst times, maybe we'll end up charging $100 to $125 per player. But this year, it sure looks like we'll be able to do it for closer to about $85 per competitive spring player.
So your fees are you base your fees or adjust your fees based on how many donations you get or who contributes to the club? It's not a standard $100 every year.
It varies from year to year depending on how much money we can raise. You know, we do have a very small cushion of about $1,200, a rainy day fund, and our goal is not to have a lot of extra money. And so, if we raise, say, $5,000 in sponsor money, you know, we'll apply all of that to help lower our participation fees. You know, there's a couple of grant programs out there that are so powerful for us. They've really made a big difference. One is the Good Sport grant program, where we can get access to what's essentially leftover brand new soccer gear at 5 cents on the dollar. So this year we purchased, I think it was $19,000 worth of soccer gear, and we spent a little over $800 for it. We got boxes and boxes of pennies and balls and cones and goals, all sorts of great stuff. And then, you know, we're regularly writing for grants, which, you know, that's helpful. So, and then the other one is the pass back program through the U.S. Soccer Foundation. That program has also donated to us things like cleats and socks and shorts and that sort of thing. And we also have several other donors who help us with gear from time to time, which we always appreciate.
That's amazing. So what do you see? What's next for soccer in Plains? Future challenges? What do you think?
Well, I'll share this picture with you, but let's see how it goes here.
Okay.
We started this year in January with, can you see the picture here?
No, it's not. Oh, there it is. Got it.
So we started the year this year with the following 12 strategic initiatives. That was in January. These promptly went out the window in March, so we didn't do these things. But these were our goals for 2020. The big one, starting a winter futsal program. That was something we desperately see a value in, and we'd like to really see it happen. And then the other is kind of this administrative side. So I think it may not even be the case for 2021. You know, our goal quickly for 2020 became, we want to survive and we just want to be able to offer our programming. But for 2022, I think we will again see a real effort to put together an indoor wintertime soccer program. And then kind of our big, hairy, audacious goal would be to build an indoor soccer space that we would control and that fits our specifications. And, you know, that's about the budget we've put together for that's about $375,000. So, you know, it's going to take a little bit of fundraising there to make it happen.
Yeah, that's a big goal. But if you were able to get that facility, then you could also rent it out to other people, right, and help with the cost of it. So, right, Nick, I want to thank you for talking to me today. I think this is great information. This is going to get posted on the MYSA website. I hope some small clubs around the state take a look at it. And I know the answer is yes, but will you make yourself available to other clubs? You know, if they have questions and they want to get a hold of you.
Rick, I wake up and the first thing I think about is first thing I think about is my family, but then I think about soccer, and I dream about soccer almost every day, and I love talking about it. And if anybody wants to call and chat, maybe you can help provide the link, get my phone number out. I'm really always interested in what people are doing and in learning how people do things differently.
Yeah, that's awesome. Nick, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I know your time is very valuable. So I want to thank you, and let's hope this COVID-19 gets taken care of. We can get back out on the field.
I look forward to it. Thanks. It's good to see you.
Nice talking to you, Nick.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.